So you want to start investing, but you're wondering, where do you start? Like, what are the things you need to look out for in that investment? Like, what makes an investment a great investment? What makes it a worthy investment? What makes it an investment that you want to be interested in and you want to buy as soon as possible? Because sometimes you get an investment and you're feeling like, oh, you're motivated, you want to buy it. Some people are talking about it, you're hearing about it on social media or main media or anywhere else. Could be from your friends, could be anywhere. So you're thinking, oh, this is a really great investment. Should I take it or not? Should I buy it or not? So what do you look out for? What actually makes you say, hey, this is a good investment for me to go into? So in this video, we're going to be looking at some of the crucial elements of any financial investments. Before you get into that investment, think of these crucial things, and if they meet your standards, then you're good to go. But of course, besides these principles of crucial things I'm going to talk about, which are like the basic ones for any investment, there are other things I always talk about. If it's stocks, for example, there are specific things you want to look for in stocks. If it's bonds, there are specific things you want to look for in bonds. If it's money market fund, there are specific things you want to look for in money market funds. If it's bills, you want to look for specific things in bills. If it's, let's say, angel investing, whereby you're investing in small companies, there are things you want to look for about that company. If you're investing in some startups, there are things you want to look for in that startup. If you're investing in a very specific area like energy, like IT, like whatever, each investment will come with very specific things you want to look for in that particular investment. So this doesn't override that need to do a very deep dive into a stock you're buying or into a bond you're buying or into a fund you're buying. So let's not change what I'm going to give you now for that. This is like an overview of what you actually need to know. So remember, this Money Matters. Here we talk about the money mindset, how to make that money, how to enjoy that money, how to manage that money, how to invest that money, and enjoy a lifetime of financial freedom. Tell me, what are some of the things you look for in the comment section. Before I even get into it, let me know, what are some of the things you usually look for in an investment? What makes you think that, oh, this is a good investment, I want to get into it? Let me know. But then let me get into mine as well. Number one is the return rate. Right? So if you're getting into an investment, anything you want to buy for investing, you're looking at the return rate. What are you going to get out of that investment? I always tell people, when you're looking at what you're going to get out of that investment, the inverse of that is, what is the other person getting out of that investment? Many times we assume that people are doing things in our favor, but that's not the case. Everyone is out here selling, everyone is out here doing business, everyone is out here to make money. Right? So no one is doing charity. So as you ask yourself, what is the return rate of an investment? What is it going to give you in terms of money? I know that's where you focus on, and that's the first thing, right? So you're thinking, you want to know the hard-earned money you're going to get. If it's something that's earning you interest, what actually comes into your pocket? Because it could be earning you interest, but in real sense, there's a lot of things that you have to pay. You could be paying certain fees. You could be paying some management fees. You could be paying some kind of, admin fees. You could be paying some kind of fines or taxes that you want to make sure you subtract from that investment so that you can know the real return of an investment. What I say is the real return of an investment. What comes into your pocket and says, hey, this is mine. So even if you invest in something like a bond or a stock, or a dividend stock, you want to know what actually comes into your pocket. What's your real return in that investment? Sit down, get the hard number. Let it be a hardcore number, very specific number, and see if you're comfortable with it. Because many times we also assume there's a big number that someone is advertising or tells you can get, but they never tell you what actually gets into your pocket. You only realize later once you've done the investment, and most of the time it's too late. So you want to look at the return rate. But I said inversely, you want to look at what the person is getting. What is the person making out of it, and how do they make their money? That's very important, because if you're going to invest my money for me, I want to understand what is in it for you, for me to be sure that you're going to take care of my interest. Most of the time, if their interest is taken care of and they're making money out of it, your interest is automatically taken care of, because for them to actually get their interest, they have to serve you first. So don't get into an investment in which you don't understand how the other person is making money. That already is a red flag. So the return rate of an investment, and inversely, what the other person is getting out of that investment. Very important. And like I said, with the return rate, get a hardcore number. Let it not be something that is just, out in the air, a schmaltzy number. Get a number that actually makes sense. A number that actually says, hey, I'm going to get this percentage out of this return into my pocket. Then the next thing you want to look for in any investment is, what is your starting amount? How much do you get in with? How much do you actually go into the market with? If you're going to buy gold, you're going to buy silver, you're going to buy stocks, you're going to buy bonds, you're going to buy commodities, you're going to buy anything, you're going to buy someone's business, what is your starting amount? What's your principal amount, right? So you want to understand that, do you have this money, and is it worth starting with that kind of money, right? Because sometimes you want to get an investment, but you haven't checked, will it allow you to buy it based on your budget? And so you go over your budget, and remember that over budget could also not be in tandem with the return rates. So you want to put enough for you that you can risk. Remember, there's a risk level here as well. You want to put in enough that you can risk in that starting amount, and you want to understand how much is that starting amount. You also want to understand, is your starting amount safe or not? Is it something you can get back or not? Because there are many investments in which you put your starting amount, and in a day or two you might lose the starting amount, or in a year you can lose the starting amount, and they make it very clear how much is the starting amount. So if that type of investment might eat into your starting amount, you need to be able to be comfortable, to lose that starting amount. But if the investment promises or guarantees the starting amount to be safe, then again, it also now dictates how much you're willing to put in, because you're like, okay, since I'm not going to lose the principal amount, then I'm able to put in this much. But since I don't know what would happen to my principal amount, I'm able to put in this much. So knowing how much you're going to start with and the safety of that starting amount is very important. Get to know your starting amount for any investment. How much do you put in first? How much do you go in with before anything else? And is it a number you're comfortable with? And is it a number you're comfortable losing if the investment is volatile? Or is it a number you're not comfortable losing, and therefore you have to go into an investment that guarantees particularly that you'll get back your principal amount? So this is one thing you have to check. How much do you start with? So obviously, you're looking at your rate of return at your starting amount. You want to look at your end amount as the next thing. Now, end amount is different from the rate of return or the amount of money you get. The end amount again now goes into like, what do you desire as an investor to get out with? Because if you're getting into an investment, you want to be sure that whatever you're going to come out with is what you desire. So if someone proposes an investment for me and they tell me, hey, you're going to put in a certain amount of like 1 million, and then they tell me, oh, at the end of it, this is what you're going to get. If I was desiring or wanted way more than what they're offering, let's say they're offering me 10% of my money annually, so in that case, they're going to offer me 100K of my money. I'm going to tell them, no, I wasn't expecting 100,000 for the year. I was expecting that my money would give me 200,000. So you have to be comfortable with the amount that you're going to be getting. That means you're analyzing your investment. You're not just investing for the sake of it. You're investing to know, what do you start with? What are you getting out of the investment? But what's your end amount in that investment? And the end amount, does it include your principal amount that you started with, or it doesn't? So the end amount is very important. What do you walk out with? But what did you want in the first place? What did you want to end up with? Because sometimes you get into an investment, then you realize later, oh, actually this money could have given me way higher return somewhere else. And that could actually help you realize, oh, this one I'm going to walk away with this much, but in this other investment, I could walk away with this much. So be clear on what you want as a return on your money. There are people I've spoken to and they say, hey, Ken, you speak about 10%, 15% return. That's too low for me. I want 30% of my money. Now, that's okay. Being open about that number that you want will help you determine what investment you can get into. So it becomes a very crucial part of analyzing any type of investment. Then you want to look at the length of investments. How long is the investment? This is something that's very common, by the way. So recently I was buying a bond, infrastructure bond that was floated. I spoke about this on my channel. Check it out. I was buying this bond, and then there was one being offered for 6.5 years. Then these are the open bond. Then there's another one being offered for 17 years. Now, obviously, these are very varied lengths. So I need to make a decision as an investor and say, hey, how much do I actually want out of this? How long am I willing to be in this investment? If I'm willing to be there for 17 years, well and good. If I'm only willing to give my money away for 6.5 years, then that's what I go for. So in my case, I went for 6.5 years for different reasons again, because I was analyzing the investment and I'm thinking the economic environment can change. I don't want to lock my money for 17 years, and I could put my money in a much better returning investment in the next 6 years or so. So for me, 6.5 years made sense. But there were people and even companies that would make sense to lock in that good interest rate at 17 years, because you also realize that risks come with more time. So the longer the investment is tied down, the more risky it becomes, because you never can foretell what's going to happen in the next 10, 17 years. But you are more likely to tell what's going to happen in the next 6 years. Not for sure, definitely, but the percentage or the probability of you telling what's going to happen in the next 6 years and what's going to happen in the next 17 years obviously are different. So the anomaly there is that if you're doing short term, you are in control of your money. But if you're like, you know what, I don't really care about this money, I can put it away as long as possible, I don't mind, and I'm willing to earn that money, as they pay me through the years, that's fine. 17 years would definitely be working for you as well. So in that sense, you're making a decision of the investment based on the length you're willing to give your money away. So very important. Keep that in mind. And it also affects the money that you're getting because inflation rate is changing, right? So there's money you put in today into an investment, 17 years later is a different amount of money. Are you willing to do that? And the other thing is, are you willing to lock your money for that long anyways, or do you want to access it and do something else in the future? But remember, the length also helps you compound better. There are advantages to a lengthy investment. I'm not saying they're all bad. So number one, you could compound your money much longer. So obviously, if you have an investment for 6 years or 7 years and I compound it over that period of time, and someone compounds their money over 17 years, you can't even compare. The person who is compounding their money over 17 years will definitely have money. So if I took my money after 6.5 years from the bond I just mentioned, I might just spend the money somewhere else, that on something that I didn't even plan on, or because now I have money, I can do anything, right? That might not be beneficial. While the person who took 17 years could be like compounding their wealth, taking their time in the market, enjoying the income and using it to buy more and buy more, they obviously will end up with more money than I am, right? But that again depends on what you want, on the end amount, right? What did you want to get out of that investment? If the 6.5 is giving me what I actually wanted as my end amount, I have no issue. So make that decision as well. Again, remember, the longer you're holding that investment, for example, with bonds. And again, remember another advantage. The longer you hold the investment, for example, bonds, it could be better if the economic environment at the time is good interest-wise. So you're getting way higher interest currently. You lock it in, let's say you lock it in at like 16%. The one that was being floated, I think, was at 14.9, almost 15%. So let's say in 17 years, the economy has completely changed, not even 17, 10 years. And we're just getting interest at like 10% for the new bonds being offered. What happens? The person who locked the interest at 15% is enjoying and laughing all the way to the bank. So that's why your investment will depend on what you actually want, right? What your goal is. Then finally, you want to look at additional contribution. Does the investment require you to put in money continuously? Is there like a minimum amount you need to put in, or you don't need to, or you can do it irregularly, or whatever terms they come with? You want to know what are the contributions you need to make regularly for that investment to continue. Some of them you don't have to. Some of them you can make when you like or when you don't. Some of them you make the decision on how to do it. Some of them have to have a minimum amount. Some of them you can put any amount, but you have to put something. So it will depend on the terms of that particular investment. And again, that's why you analyze it, right? So that you know, is this something I can do? Let's say this investment is fixed for the next 10 years and they want a minimum investment of, let's say, 5,000 Kenya shillings per month. Is this something I can do? You make that decision and then you go with it. But if it's something you can't do because now it will derail your other investment or your life in any way, then you're like, I can't do 5,000 a month. That investment isn't for you. So these are very crucial things you want to look for in any investment. Let me know in the comment section which one you always look for and which one you always overlook. And if this video has been helpful, share it, and let me know what you think about it. Leave your comment in the section below. Any questions, ask me. I'll try to answer as many as possible. As usual, MoneyMatters, and out.